sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I hope my screen is visible to you all. Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, one and all present here. I'm Yasmine. Just give a minute. Uh, I'm Dr. Yasmine from Tamil Nadu, India. I'm heading the Department of English. Today, I'm going to discuss few points, important points about gender polarization. And before going to the session, I really thank Dr. Bedkar sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity to discuss about this gender polarization with this great forum. Thank you so much, sir. And to go with the introduction, see gender polarization. Now the gender studies become the big section, big genre to make a research, and we are going behind that. So it is very important to know about this gender polarization, the concept which was introduced by the which was introduced by the American psychologist Sandra Bem, and she is actually a feminist psychologist, and she is also known for her theories like gender studies, gender schema theory, BEM, sex role inventory, and clinical psychology. So, based on her psychological studies and gender studies, she was awarded, honored with so many awards. But the main thing is she was awarded as an eminent woman in psychology. So her psychological insights and the gender studies which make her she her gender theories were something called as an eye opener, because her childhood experience as well as her life experience make her to make this gender schema theory, which give us a clear insight about the attributes and the feelings and emotions attitudes of the masculinity and the femininity thing. And before going to make clear what is gender polarization and why we are why we are taking this as a main concept of psychological study means, as we all know that feminism play a vital role in 80s and 90s. The research people want to do some feministic approaches and as a sociological approaches, and we make lot of feministic study. But now it's a time to get into gender studies, which will give us a greater and a wider insight about the genders what we are having now. There is a great transition in the modern society. As a human, we have to accept the nature, the behavior of the genders. So before going to gender polarization, the Sandra Bem, the psychologist, she believed that these three beliefs about women and men are taken into great consideration, and these three are the beliefs which are segregating, polarizing men and women in a polar opposites. So she says that there is a different psychology and the sexual nature for both men and women, and men are inherently dominant or superior sex, and the third one is both female differences and male dominance are actually nature. It's a natural process. So based on these three beliefs, she took us to the three lenses of gender. She says that these three lenses are the main lenses which will give us that culture and society both are segregated men and women as a two polar opposites. So she concentrated more on the gender polarization. Before going to gender polarization, she has given the basic historical keynotes about the biological essentialism and as well as androcentrism. So we, as a researchers, as a research scholars, and as well as the people of social work and humanities, we have to understand why this gender polarization created, why this concept was taken into a main theme where we are not talking about any feministic activities, but we are talking about the social genders. And talking about this androcentrism is also called as male centeredness. So, to understand gender polarization, we have to go to the historical concept that androcentrism. This androcentric concept was first articulated in 20th century by Charles Perkins and Gilman in her book The Man-Made World. So according to her conception, according to her perspective, this whole world was made up of men. Androcentric culture, our whole world is something made up of men. The education system, the political system, the family, the health, the everything was made under man's vision, made under man's world. So what, according to them, according to my perspective, according to when the androcentrism starts from the evolution of human being, and if we go through the book The Lenses of Gender by Sandra Bem, this androcentric part, she has explained all the historical and as well as the religious theological books, and she says that this androcentrism impact the society too much. And she, for example, I am taking this biblical definition of women, where uh, we as a person, we all know the Bible story of Adam and Eve, where Satan chooses Eve to eat that fruit. So which means that Satan knows that she is actually a weaker sex. She, as when God created this world, from man she was created, so which means that she is subordinate to him. She is actually a second person. She is not prominent or else a first person in this world. So she is actually a she actually a shadow of men. So when Satan thought that it will be easy for him to manipulate Eve. So if we take the Bible stories, we can take Greek mythologist Pandora stories. Wherever we talk about the mythological Greek religious stories as well as the historical stories, women were uh, uh, as personalized as pictured as a weak character, which pictured as a weaker sex. So this androcentrism, male centeredness, when we talk about this androcentric concept, we can know that from the historical point of view, till we cannot tell that till now, but from the historical point of view, men will be predominant, men will be the dominant species, where women will be the subordinate to them. And talking about this biological essentialism, just I'm giving you just a few points about this, because I want to talk more about gender polarization, not about these two topics. So talking about this biological essentialism, this depicts a process in which biology influence preceded cultural influences and the set predominated limits to the effect of the culture. See here, biological essentialism, which will give preference to the biological part, biological things, not the cultural things, not the societal things. So this lens rationalizes and legitimates both other lenses by treating them as a natural inevitable consequences. So which means that this biological essentialism is it's actually a natural process where women is considered weak based on their biological nature. uh, See, I have highlighted this point. Edward Clarke's Sex in Education, which was published against this as this anti-feminist belief that higher education was not a suitable activity for women. This was opposed by so many feminist activities during this time, and at that time so many revolution happened and so many colleges and schools were open for women. But think about this concept, think about this line, that higher education was not a suitable activity for women, only because if women concentrate more on their educational part, they cannot be reproductive in their uh, marrying process, they cannot be reproductive in their natural process. So when they put their so much effort and so much energy towards education, they cannot be a be a strong mother, be a strong reproductive person. So these are some biological essentialism examples which I have just quoted here. So we can take so many things like that. Women are not at all, women are something physically weak. So biology play a vital role in this biological essentialism, where this also project that men will be predominant, men will be dominant. It's something natural process. Women as a weaker sex, as a women, they don't have that much of energy like a man, so they will be biologically they are very weak. So these two concepts projects and impact the society, that men have special characters, women have their own special characters, which play a role of polar opposites. They cannot be mingled up, they cannot be mixed up, they cannot have both the attributes and emotions together. So this is what the gender polarization is also telling us. So talking to the concept of gender polarization, this concept was first delivered by American psychologist Sandra Bam, and she states that society tends to define femininity and masculinity as polar opposite genders, such that male acceptable behavior and attitudes are not seen as appropriate for women and vice versa. See, this is the main definition of gender polarization. The society is giving the script, an exclusive script for being male and being female. If a male or female, if they are deviates from their behavior, they consider to be problematic, they consider to be unnatural, which means that if a man wants to wear a girl's dress, if a man wants to grow up his hair, if a woman wants to cut her hair, if a woman wants to grow her muscles, these activities will be considered as deviative activities, which means that it is something unnatural. So this is what gender polarization's main concept. It gives the society here. The main concept is society. The main influential is society. The society is created a script for male and female, and whatever the male attributes, it should not be taken up by female. The same thing, the vice versa. So this is what we are going to see in detail. So feminism, feminine and masculine attributes, the emotions, the feelings. As we all know, feminine will be very warm, gentle, they will be very sensitive, but the masculine, they will be having a leadership quality, they will be having a strong personality as a leader, and they will be dominant, and they will make decisions very easily. So these are some of the femininity and masculinity attributes. And talking about this thing, gender polarization, think as a person, as a human, as a parents, just give me the answer. When you buy some toys, when you buy some clothes or anything, when it is a girl, we will prefer automatically to the pink color. If it is a boy, our mindset go to some of the mild or some of the boyish colors. We will call it as a boyish colors. So talking about the toys, we will give some playstations or some other to the boys. So this, why we are doing that? What is the what why we are without any knowledge we are doing this? Our mind is automatically fixing that these are the male and female things which we should buy for our boy and a girl. So this pattern, the society has framed a pattern that women should work, cook, take care of her children. She should do all the household activities. As a man, he will be engaged with the social environment. He will be having his own work style, own style of leadership. He will be doing other outside works which will a woman cannot do. So these are some of the gender polarization examples I'm giving to you. So think as a person, as a human, our mindset, our brain automatically process these type of characterization. So which means that Sandra Bem, she's telling that it is actually a men or a boy or a girl, when they are in their infant age, their cognitive process, when the cognitive process start working, they will automatically observe the male attributes. A girl will observe their female attribute from their mother and a father. So when a boy observes his father, whatever he does in a home and the official thing, he will observe, and he will when he was growing with his cognitive process, automatically he will have that mindset that as a male, as a boy, I should grow up like my father. He is my hero. Whatever he does, I should follow the same pattern of living. So when we talk about a girl, even though now we are giving education to our girl children as equal as boys, but the framed patterns by the society, where what a mother is doing here, mother is doing in her home, she will copy the same thing, she will adopt the same thing, she will observe it, and she, as a female, she will be adopting the same patterns and she'll be following in her lifelong. So this is what the gender polarization is talking about. The boy will adopt, will observe whatever the father do, the girl will observe whatever the mother is projecting to her. So this gender polarization is actually not at all a born process. It is a process which we are making up to, making the children to do. So when their cognitive level is growing up, we are giving them a set patterns. See, the child, the infant will be in a struggling stage. Psychologically speaking, they don't have a clear picture what they are and what they have to do. When a boy, when a girl, when they are in an infant stage, their genital part will give them lot of confusion. They are not able to find what they have to do. So when the society has framed this pattern about the mother and a father and a boy and a girl, a brother and a sister, the patterns will be followed as usual. The patterns will be followed consequently, simultaneously. The brain development as well as the patterns will combine together, and they will be following the same patterns as they are. So, talking about the ideas of Ben, according to Ben, gender polarization begins when natural sex differences are exaggerated in culture. So, this gender polarization will superimpose the female and male dichotomy on all the aspects from biological to social. So, understand Ben's social gender polarization. She has dealt with some ideas like sexual inversion, homosexuals, femininity, and masculinity. So, as we all know, sexual inversion means thinking that uh, person who is not having a clear picture what they are, or else they will be struggling to understand the scripts. So in 19th century, few German theorists explores the sexual inversion, and they says that they describe the Karl, the German psychiatrist. He describes that Uranians, they call them as Uranians, who feels that there in a male body there will be a feminine soul. So the American neurologist, he also declares that sex is perverted. So individual one who hate opposite sex and love their own, men become women, women become men. So their character, their taste, their feelings, behavior will be interchange, the inversion happens. So what we have to understand here is sex is something a biological process, where gender is something a social process. Social process. So here it is clear that femininity and masculinity will not be mingled up. A men will become a women, or women will become a men. So talking about homosexuality, Sigmund Freud, the renowned psychologist, he says that he argued this heterosexuality and homosexuality were the process of psychosexual. So which means that he believed strongly that all humans were bisexual. Primarily, the men will be somewhat, some attributes will be, he will adopt the female will attribute some, female will adopt some attributes of male. So he also argued that masculinity, femininity are made, not born. So based on all those theorist concepts, we understood that gender polarization, which means that the masculine script and the female scripts are not at all born. It is not at all a natural process, but it is made by the society and the culture. So masculinity, femininity, during 20th century, within the psychology and psychiatry, there was they started theorizing gender polarization, and they started doing assessment based on masculinity femininity assessment. This assessment will talk about, this assessment is something which give a clear picture that male attributes were followed by the male, which means that male attribute means, in the assessment they have given so many exercise where male characters, they will not love pampering or taking care of children, where female will not love those love of actions or any other strong any other things which were done by the male things. So these assessments will give us a concluding answer that male and female attributes are bipolars, they are polar opposites. So a male cannot be same time female, a femininity cannot be a masculine thing. So talking about the treatment and prevention of gender identity disorders and development of masculine feminine normal children, so this is what we have to concentrate more on, this the development of masculinity feminine normal children. The normal children which were growing up in the society, from their infant stage, they will be influenced by the social cultural the framed traits, and they will be following the same thing till their thing till their life. It is a something lifelong process. So masculine, talking about now the gender studies, the gender, all the genders, we have to understand that that something sex, the biological thing is different from the cultural things. So that we should not combine the natural process and as well as the societal process, and we should not judge based on the societal impacts. All the three lenses concludes that the biology, culture, individual psyche all interacts in the historical context to systematically reproduce male power. This gender polarization affects the social, economic, and mental status of all genders, especially women. So we have to know that as a graduates, as a scholars, we have to understand each traits and characteristic of the genders, and we should give them the equal respect and equal responsibility so that they can become a mentally stable persons in the human world. So this is what my concept. Thank you all. I hope I have given my perspective about gender polarization. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you, sir. Sure, sir. Sure. It's my pleasure. Sir. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Bedkar, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Sir,
A
good evening.
wonderful topic, wonderful topic. And you have very well elaborated. Yeah, definitely, genetically, biologically, socially, culturally, education-wise, nutrition-wise, everywhere you'll find there is a discrimination between male and female. And you were talking about the toys, but I remember my text, where you'll find we are telling Kamal to bring water and to Jagan to go to market and bring, do some purchasing. So I think, the very important change has to be taken place from our side first to
Yes.
generate this equality, and there should be no polarization. And yes, definitely what you are saying is about the uh, polarization is there definitely. I'd seen number of things, like in our Indian communities, the male eat first and then female eat first, second.
Yes,
I
yes,
know the remnant of food, whatever left behind, she never talks about that she has not got adequate food. But I think, one we should sit at one table to have, equal amount of things.
yes,
Many of the times the girls are developed, you're a girl, you should behave like this only and that only. And or the boy is also said, you should not weep, you should not have tears in your eyes, and this and that. And that is why, we have developed this great polarity. Apart from the biological aspects and genetic aspect is very important.
yes,
But I think, to clear these differences, very important thing is to understand from the family. The family is a unit,
yes,
and the male child and the female child is there in the family, how to treat them.
yes,
And
yes,
that's what I do. Another, where I've seen, many of the couple wants their child to be a boy, and they get a girl child. Now, in this incident, what they are doing is, they try to make that girl as a boy.
yes, the tomboyishness, tomboy sessions, and
These people are too much confused with their own identity.
yes,
So there is a essence of male and female, both are having their own essence, and we have to preserve that. But of course, there should be no discrimination in at the educational level. When I go to the tribal area, very recently I was there at a very tribal area where you'll find, there are ashram shalas where, people are taking education, but the girls are turning, they are not turning to the higher educations. They are getting married at soon after 10th or 12th, and then they are not going further, means that is the social, means that this aspect only, it is very fixed in their mind that, she should get married.
yes,
And to bring this social, the impact and social transformation, will require, a kind of a action at education level, social level, cultural level, and we have to create a society which will develop, which will give the preference to both. So I think some of the best part is, some activities are wonderfully done by female and some of the activities are wonderfully done by men,
yes,
and they are the size of 2 points, and mind you, one side has no meaning as such. Like, I'm dealing with so many students, and especially girl students, they are very good in handwriting, they are very good in studies, but when I'm talking about the boys, they are working wonderfully in a hospital, and they are treating, some sorry, they are dealing with some critical conditions also, without much vigilance. So the emotion and practicability and all those aspects has to be considered. And I think to some extent we should maintain this polarity also. I'm in favor in that. But of course, there should be no discrimination. Like if suppose someone wants to become UPSC, MPSC, some, so naturally the parents should promote their girl. And the girls are, they are the caretaker of the family rather than boy. Boy can, bring income to your house, but girls are, they are having an emotional touch to the family. So that is how we have to think about this. So thank you, ma'am, for wonderfully explain this topic. And I just, with my consulting, I was meditating your topic, and I got some ideas I've expressed over here. Thank you,
thank
thank
you.
you,
Actually, you have given a lot of insight about this. It's actually great to hear from you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you, ma'am.
Oh, congratulations. Thank you. Sure. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.